Future House is one of the biggest genres in EDM now, and it's cultivated a variety of amazing artists, such as Don Diablo, Mo Falk, and Mike Williams, but today we're going to be taking a look at one of Future House's most unique artists, Brooks. Now, Brooks is no stranger to music production, as he's been producing for over 10 years and has been well known for his remixes and early releases to labels such as Future House Music, which includes songs such as Pinball, If Only I Could, and Hold It Down, but it wasn't around until 2017 when he would go on to release Bite, a collab with the legendary Martin Garrix, that Brooks would become the household name we know today. Currently, he's released songs with David Guetta, Jonas Aiden, and most recently Mo Falk, and today we'll be going over a track inspired by Brooks and show you the process behind making Future House just like Brooks in Logic Pro. Hey everyone, my name is Santiago and I'm a music producer and audio engineer. On this channel you'll find a variety of tutorials, tips and tricks, and some behind the scenes of the life of a music producer. So if that sounds interesting to you, make sure to subscribe, and now let's get into the video. After setting the tempo to 128 BPM, the first thing we'll start for today's track is the bass line. I've noticed that Brooks loves to use very gritty, almost dubstep inspired bass lines, so we'll be using a preset off of Serum and creating a bass line to build the track around. One of the biggest things Brooks loves to use to add interest in his bass lines are octave jumps and syncopation, which is just placing and emphasizing notes which don't fall on the beat. Now, the bass line doesn't have to be too complex, as we'll be using the bass line's rhythm to build our lead off of. Another thing I noticed Brooks does a lot in his tracks. So here's the bass line that I came up with. Moving on to the lead, the first thing I want to go over is layering. Brooks is well known for his full and well-designed synth leads, so I want to go over effective layering when it comes to making leads like Brooks. So the first thing I want to highlight is that you don't need a lot of layers. When you start to add too many of the same sounding layers, you tend to create a build of similar frequencies, and this is what creates muddiness in a mix. So for this track, I'm using 4 layers that each serve a specific purpose. The first is mainly for stereo width, which is emphasized with a stereo spread plugin from Logic. The second is really what adds the overall character to the sound and is the synth you'll hear the most. The third is used for its pluggy transient. And the last adds some body and support to the overall sound by adding more presence in the mids. Now, while all these sound good, what really brings these synths to life is something that Brooks, along with many other Future House producers, do, which is Reverb Automation. So I've added a reverb plugin right on our lead bus, and after opening our automation window, you can see that I've automated the wet knob of the reverb to come in the parts where the lead is not playing. And while you can achieve the same effect by sidechaining your reverbs, this effect is much more pronounced in this style of Future House, which is why I chose to do it the way I did. To support these reverb automations, I added a reverse shot of the lead synth in the places where the lead isn't playing. I did this by bouncing a note of the lead in place and reversing it. Now that we have the leads and bass set, the last thing I'm going to add are the chords. I'm using a super saw sound from Serum, and I created a chord progression in the key of D sharp minor based off of the bass line. Moving on to our drums and effects, just like any Future House track, we'll be using a standard 4 on the floor beat with fills every 4 bars. To fill up the empty space in the drums, we'll throw in a white noise exhaust that is sidechained to the kick, and then during the second 8 bars of the drop, we'll add a hi-hat loop and a crowd ambience sample for a bigger sound. And that's pretty much going to be it for this track. As always, if you like the song from today's video, feel free to leave a like and comment an artist you want to see next. And now, here's the final result.